Hey, joining us now on the Marmy Rock Show. I'm glad to have Coursey Willis back on the show. The last time we had him on the show, the album wasn't out yet. Missing October is now out and about. Hey, man, welcome back to the show.
Thanks a lot, brother. It's good talking to you.
Hey, man, so let's kind of get right into talking about Missing October, man. It's what prompted me to get you back on, and I saw a post from the other day that you're kind of down to the last box of CDs. So how happy are you with the release so far? Tell us how things are going.
I'm thrilled. Honestly, it couldn't have gone any better. I ordered a set amount of CDs, and mostly it was out on digital, but I wanted to see how the CDs would do. And I pre-sold most of them on that Pledge Music campaign that I did. So I'm down to about 150 CDs out of 500 that I got, and I'm planning on selling the rest of those at this Island Bay Day in October. So I couldn't be happier with the way it came out.
Yeah, man, we're going to talk about Island Bay Days in just a little bit here. But first, I want to ask you a couple things about the CD itself. Now, before you get into the music, I saw kind of a strange little post you made, and I didn't understand. Maybe you explain about the reversed lyrics thing. What's going on with that?
Well, I get a lot of people that ask me about the song meanings and just in-depth questions about every single song that I write, and I'm more of a person to ask them to take the song, take it for what it is, and whatever they hear in it, they can take that as to what it means to them, not necessarily what it means to me. After they listen to it, if they really want to sit down and they want to check out the lyrics, and that's great. But first listen, I want them to just to hear it. So I put them in there backwards this time so that it would be harder to read. Now, you can read it if you hold it up into a mirror, but, kind of a trick to them when they got the CD. I guess everybody really wants to sit down and just check out the lyrics, but I wanted them to hear the music before they could sit there and concentrate on what all the words meant. So that was kind of the idea behind that. But evidently, people really like reading the lyrics, so I finally posted them up on my website.
Hey, man, I'm actually one of those guys, and I'm looking down at my questions two away from now, and there's one I want to ask you about, too. And I think part of that is just that your music does have a lot of, it's not lyrics-driven, but it has a lot of, meaning behind the lyrics. We're not talking about, I drove a fast car and I partied last weekend, right?
Right.
So let's talk about some of the tunes now. It's funny, when I first started hearing the samples and stuff, I was pretty much assuming that Walk On By was going to be my favorite, but let me tell you, another one has bubbled to the top that I want to talk about, and that's the tune Rain. It's actually my favorite so far, and almost sounds like you've got a little bit of a southern influence for a boy from Maryland.
Yeah, I've been getting that a lot lately. The last couple of shows that I've played, everybody said, how country you sound? And I'm like, I don't hear it, but everybody else tells me it's got that southern country sound to it. So, yeah, everybody else is the ones that are listening to me, so I have to assume I got a little southern or a little country sound to it. That really wasn't the direction that I was going, but hey, I'm going to take it and run with it. Maybe it'll be the new sound of country rock.
Yeah, it's kind of like country grunge, man. It's kind of what it reminds me of a little bit.
That was odd as that was like the joke at first. That's what we were going to do, like a country grunge album, because it's, I guess it's kind of unheard of, but we honestly didn't do it on purpose, and so I've heard, and you're saying the same thing, that it does have that kind of sound to it.
Yeah, man, and so one of the things about Rain that I found really interesting, it's got a really full sound to it, is the best way I can describe it. Like, what I was wondering, the keyboards and everything and that, when you're writing a song like that, are you, writing it acoustically in your mind, or are you hearing the full band play it?
No, actually, everything is written acoustically, and that is an old song, because that song's probably 15 years old, and it just happened to be a decent song to make the album that complemented the rest of the songs. But absolutely everything that I write is all written acoustically, and it's driven acoustically. So it's kind of hard sometimes to take those acoustic songs and build them into full band songs, but that's why the organ in the background kind of kept that acoustic feel to it, even though we wanted to make it a little heavier.
Man, it's a very cool tune, and I'm just throwing at my own personal plug. You do another music video, man. I'm throwing it my way. I'm hoping Rain comes out as definitely my favorite track on that CD.
Oh, yeah, we're absolutely. That is the next music video that we're going to do. Rain was actually considered to be one of its own singles, but Walk On was such a strong song, too. I got a lot of feedback on that, so we were kind of up in the air on Rain or Walk On. So absolutely, the Rain will have its own music video in the next 6 months.
So I'm going to go down that road that you might answer me backwards when I ask this question, because it's a weird question that I wrote down, but you can answer it how you want. The next song I really wanted to talk about was They Still Follow. You talk about a lot of demons following. And I wonder, like, is this music in a lot of ways an escape from some demons for you, or am I reading too much into that?
Nope, that's absolutely it. I write strictly as my therapy. I don't think I've ever actually written a happy song. Not to say that I'm a depressed person, but I just don't find any interest or emotional drive to write a happy song. So I guess I use music as kind of like my release, my therapy. And that song is strictly about constantly getting away from anything bad in your life. And even though you try, you sometimes turn around and everything is still there. So that's why it kind of has that upbeat driving song, or the upbeat rhythm to it, almost like you're constantly running. So no, you're dead on. I mean, that's kind of where I go with everything. I've had a lot of people approach me like, are you okay? Are you suicidal or depressed? I'm like, no, absolutely not. You don't need to put me in the loony bin. That's just my style of writing, and that's my release to get all the bad stuff out.
Hey man, it's a lot of people made a lot of money doing something called the blues, so don't feel bad about that, right?
Oh yeah, I don't feel bad. If they can't hack it, they don't have to listen.
So, hey man, we got a real big show coming up for you guys. It's October 17th. You're going to be at Red Eye Dock Bar. Tell us a little bit about Island Bay Day and your participation in that over the last couple of years.
Man, Island Bay Day has been going on since 2007. It started in a parking lot, and the band that I used to play in, and I still jam with the guys, the Frail, we played there the last 5 or 6 years, I guess, and opened up for some really cool acts and played with some national touring bands. And this year, since the Frail's kind of on hiatus, everybody's doing their own thing, and most of the guys, some guys are in California, some of the guys are in Boston. Since I had this album out, they asked me to kind of do my own thing this year to see what would happen. So I'm just going to focus the whole show this year around all the original music, and I think they're driving mostly for all original music this year, because in the past they had a couple cover bands there, which is cool, but when people go to a music festival, unlike a bar, they kind of want to hear more original-driven music. So one of my favorite bands will be back there this year, Jimmy's Chicken Shack. Love those guys to death, and I'm just thrilled that I'll be sharing the stage with them.
Now, are we going to be seeing you do your acoustic thing there, or are you going to be are you bringing a band with you?
Nope, it's going to be the full band. We were considering, well, they asked me originally if I would do an acoustic set, and I'm like, I do acoustic sets all the time, and with this album, everybody's been listening to the album. I don't want to go up there with just an acoustic guitar and do a solo acoustic show. If they want to hear the album, which is what I'm getting feedback on, then we're going to do a full-on show.
So, that's Island Bay Day again. That's going to be October 17th, Red Eye Dock Bar. That's, I guess that's not really Southern Maryland. What would you call that region? I guess Central Maryland?
Yeah, it's Central Maryland. It's centered right in the center of the bay, so it's pretty much Central Maryland. It's about 15 minutes from Annapolis, 40 minutes from Baltimore, and it's about an hour and a half from Ocean City, but it's seated right outside of Kent Island, right in the Kent area.
So something worth making a trip for, folks. You got Baltimore, you got Ocean City, all these cool things just within striking distance if you want to make a long weekend out of it. Now, hey, you got a cool website out there. I don't know how long it was up, or if it was up the last time we talk, but it looks real nice. Tell folks a little bit about your website.
I have just revamped the whole website. I actually built it all myself. I kind of do that on the side, so it took me a couple tries to get the kind of site that I was looking for, and I just revamped it and added a web store to it. So I also added all the lyrics to there, like what we were talking about earlier, but it's a completely redesigned website. It's kind of an open format. Anybody can go on there and check out all my bio, or they can check out the lyrics if they want. I have all the merchandise on there. Now, the merchandise is a little low at the moment. I sold everything out over the last couple of months, so I'm waiting to get restocked, and I'm trying not to let that happen again, but I honestly wasn't expecting to sell as much as I sold, so that's a good thing. But it's got PayPal and Amazon and credit card payments, so if anybody's looking for merchandise or just to check out the music, you can check out jCourseyWillis.com.
And it's a cool site, and I especially like the feature you mentioned where, like, I was playing around with it yesterday, you could look at a song and click on the lyrics and read right along. It's like the old days when you opened up your hard copy CD, and that was the first thing you do, or even your let's go older days, and you take the album jacket and open it up and read along. So it's kind of fun to do.
Oh, absolutely. I was the same way. I grew up with the old, what were they called, the jewel cases, where they'd always get cracked, so you just keep the booklet out of them. As long as you got the lyrics there, you could just sit in your chair and have a couple of drinks and check out the lyrics. So I did do it like that way, trying to make it more like a booklet online, because everything's gone digital these days.
Hey man, I was listening also at the same time. You have a new demo out there of a tune called Cut. Now that's out on SoundCloud. Are you already working on the next record then? I
am working with a guy named Scott Spivey, very talented musician. He lives right around Bel Air, and man, he can play the hell out of the guitar. So he's got a good brain on him too, man. He is a great producer. He doesn't know it yet, but he is a producer deep inside somewhere, and I'm going to force him to produce my next album. And I'm still going to keep Brian Ewald in the mix, but this next album, I think we're going to go a little heavier. So I'll actually have the full demo version of that song. The cut is one you're talking about. I'm going to have one that's a full band, and the demo will be on SoundCloud soon, because that's just the acoustic version of it. But the stuff that I'm going to aim for on this next one, I'm probably going to do a lower amount of songs, more like a single here and there, until I can fund a full, 10 or 15 track album. But until then, I think I'm going to stick with singles and just do some heavier music.
Hey man, one more thing before I let you go here. The cover work on Missing October is very, very cool. I actually love it. Make a great poster or something like that. Now, and I also noticed that the ever-present birds are still there as an influence. So tell us a little bit about the album cover.
Well, a good friend of mine, Tucker Jones, who is a great artist, and he's a photographer and a videographer. Him and I sat down and discussed how we were kind of going to do the album artwork on this. And this is kind of like a collage artwork where you take bits and pieces that aren't exactly designed to go together and you layer them on top of one another. So we took the whole logo idea, which has the crow and the tree and the moon, and I took an image from my head from when I was a kid of an old friend of mine and we used to go dirt bike riding back in the field on Kent Island. And it was an old cornfield, and we used to go at dusk. So the cover is him and I standing there looking at the sunset, and as it's turning to night. So the front of the cover is the same image on the back of the cover, but on the back of the cover you can see the nighttime version of what the front of the cover is. So we tried to incorporate all things from the logo without actually going straight to the logo. So I'm actually very happy with the way it turned out, and Tucker did a great job on this. I tweaked it a little bit, but I can't take any credit for that. He was pretty much the main artist on this.
It's a fantastic cover. I really like it from all aspects. So hey, Jay Coursey Willis, man, it's great to have you on the show again. You can check Jay out live at Red Eye Dock Bar October 17th. That's at Island Bay Days, and definitely want to check out the Missing October EP. It's a very cool album. And hey, man, thanks a lot for being back on the show again. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much, man. You've always been great support, and I can't get enough of this. I love listening to the interviews and love listening to the music that you guys put on.
Hey, man, thanks so much. We appreciate that.
Thank you.